Sup? Thank you. Trust me, I know I look good. But I'm glad you guys recognize that too. I would be concerned about you if you didn't think I looked spiffy. Which Splatoon teams will make it through this year's interviews? Which ones will be rejected? That's a good question. Which teams will still be standing at the end of the year? You can't interview a team and then have them disband the next week. Can I... Okay, I was like, Karen, I can't understand a single thing you just said right there. I can't pet Stuffle. He hasn't been doing anything. Just stand in there. Just stand in there. It's not going to get the job done. It's not good enough. Was supporting my Metroid Dread case, but I let my brother borrow Metroid Dread, so it's not there anymore. Can we have a moment of silence for Wiggly Phantoms? I did a whole segment dedicated to them. No, we can't have a moment of silence for them every single week. We gotta move on, Vanny. You gotta move on at some point. I think you're still stuck in the denial stage. You still got to go through anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. I'm at the bargaining stage, but we got to move forward. We got to go forward. We can't be stopped back. What is WP? Wyoming Petroleum. You didn't catch the Popcast last week? Don't worry, you can catch the VOD on YouTube. 25 Popgun. Or anchor.fm/Popgun. You can listen to it. If you don't want to see my beautiful face. Oh. You're not talking about the Wiggly Phantoms? Why do we have an emo... Oh, no, you are talking about the Wiggly Phantoms. You say wiggle forever. The other WP team. Last chance to nominate anyone for anything. I think I'm set, though. Unless I'm not. Woo! Nice woo in there, Vapor. Cannon. Is that the only thing you know is just furry content? Well, as long as it makes you happy, I guess. Carrot, are you you good, bro? What is going on? YouTuber. Like, you guys realize YouTuber has played in several tournaments this year. That kind of hints that they're not a pickup. But I think most of you, the worst pickup team name has pretty much been decided. Yeah. Overwhelming majority of people voted for that one. That ended up winning. Yeah, YouTuber was like, what the heck? We're not a pickup team. We played in like 10 tournaments this year. LSL, Low Inc. I mean, yeah, their team name is bad, but they don't fit into the pickup team name bad category. I should have done a best up and coming commentator award, where the rule would have been you had to have started commentary in 2021. So I don't really know who all. I know who the top two would be. Number one would easily be Brush. Number two would be Falco. But I don't know who number 3 is because I don't know who else started exclusively in like 2021. And I know there'd be a lot of commentators that'd be butthurt and be like, "Oh, I didn't even get an honorable mention." It's like, well, it's because I think you're bad. Okay. That's just me. Yeah, well, good for you, Falco. Nobody knows what Ink Theory is except for like the 50 plus teams that always signed up for it. All right. AAA. It's funny. I'm gonna be talking about a team AAA today. Wait till we do the Greg. Wait till we do the weekly recap. It's just me farting out names. Like the teams that finished in the top 3 and top 4 of all these tournaments are just flat out not acceptable. If it's any wonder, well, there's like a million reasons, but if there's any wonder why, you got like 2 sponsored teams mixed in, combined with like Raccoon Soup, GGG Ja, and a Garfield Christmas special. A team called I Don't Know. It's a total crap show. By the way, Greg, I will get back with Ace at some point. He keeps DMing me in the middle of the night trying to set up a set for Ludi. We'll get it figured out. I gotta wait for my guys to wake up and figure out what's going on with them. But if Ace DMs me one more time in the middle of the night trying to set up a Ludi match, I am going to call the police. Be like, I don't know where this guy lives. So you guys have to do something about this. Falco's best Riptide party host? I have no comment on that. No comment on that. And any videos that would suggest that I was in a room with Falco at Riptide should not surface. Shoutouts to Carrot for being my public relations officer, keeping me out of trouble. Yeah, Ace. Yes, Ace is EST, which is fine. Like, it's fine. I'm joking. I'm like half joking. I've known Ace for a long time. He's a good kid. I almost said a good kid, but I don't think it's fair to call teenagers kids when they don't act like kids. Ace is a good guy. Unless he's not. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're enjoying that lump of coal that Santa brought you for Christmas, having your first stream after Santa brought you an Elgato for Christmas, pointing out that my autocorrect adjusted most improved team to move improved team, whatever it is that you're doing right now. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this, unless I don't. Merry Christmas to those who celebrated it 2 days ago. Happy New Year's to those who believe in such a thing that's going to be going on this upcoming weekend. I am all for these holidays happening on weekends because if you have a job, they're most likely going to give you your paid holiday on like Thursday and Friday. So it's like an extended holiday break. I am all for that. So shout outs to whoever decided that that Christmas was going to be on Saturday this year and New Year's as well. We're all for that. If you listen to the last episode of the podcast, which I know you did, I said today I was going to be doing my Ludi recap episode. And then I realized that Makeup Week is 2 weeks long and not just 1 week. So Ludi sets are not done. I still have one more set I got to play. But I'm the lucky one. There are teams, I think there's 2 teams in my personal Ludi group that has to play 3 matches this week. So the fact that I already got to play 1, I'm already eliminated from the playoffs anyway, so there's no real stress on my part. But 1 more week to make sure everything clears up. Then we'll do the Ludi recap episode where we'll point out everything that I got wrong in my prediction. Because you guys like that stuff. Hey, this is a person. Can you guys in chat just kind of disappear for a second? I want to talk directly to someone right now. Shaq, you tweeted out that you wanted to be on every podcast ever for competitive Splatoon. Somebody pinged me in that. I didn't initially see it because a lot of people were talking on my award nomination tweet, so it got kind of lost in the notifications. But I'll tell you this right now. I said DM me if you wanted to be on the episode. You did not DM me. Clearly, what you said about being on every podcast episode was a lie. It was a fake. And I'm here. I mean, I'm right here. And if you come on, we're going to ask you some hard-hitting questions. A lot of questions people want to know. What's it like to participate in a Nintendo tournament? Are they as horribly organized as they appear to be? Are the plus servers a good thing or a bad thing? What's it like to try out for Blue Moon and get denied by them? So many things, Shaq, that the audience wants to know about. Don't just stick to your comfort spot. Come out of your comfort zone. Come on to the podcast. I need the ratings unless I don't. All right, you guys can come back in. It's good. We're all good here. News of tournaments coming on in the coming weeks, months, years. I got a DM from Carrot. Is it anything? Oh, okay, good. It wasn't. Sometimes Carrot lets me know, hey, your stream's exploding, but it's not that. Little Squid League 17 got announced. What is the exact date for that? As I look this up right now, Sunday, January the 16th. I'm assuming this because Saturday is SAC, the first tournament for SAC. So Little Squid League 17 is finally coming back. I think this is just the normal Little Squid League, not the giant one they used to have. Already 5 teams signed up for this one. There we go. Good to see Little Squid League come back. It sucks that Little Squid League 17 got canceled back in December, but that doesn't undermine how awesome Little Squid League is of a tournament, how important of a tournament that it is for our scene going forward. SAC, the first edition of the SAC tournament is going to be on the 15th. I believe. Saturday the 15th. That is correct, at 2 p.m. Eastern time. A lot of people there's going to be a lot of teams that will sign up for this first SAC tournament. And you're going to see that number cut in half for like tournament number 2. Because what happens is a lot of low-rank teams sign up for SAC and then they realize, oh crap, this is not fun at all. I'm going 1-5 when I'm usually going like 5-1 and low ink. So that'll scare a lot of people off, but at least the first one, you're going to get a lot of teams sign up for it. But I'm calling it right now. Don't hit the panic button when there's like half the number of teams sign up for tournament number 2 and everyone's like freaking out. Oh, the SAC's dead already. No, we'll literally see this every single season with SAC. So just play in the first one, enjoy it. And when you don't do well, hey, yeah, just be happy you're not fully in mid-level yet. Be thankful for low ink while you still have it. Today, the Popcast Awards, voted by you and kind of by me as well. It's more like me taking your input into consideration for what I think the award should be. If you don't like it, hey, run your own show. Get to episode number 92, then call me and tell me how I got everything wrong. Or just subtweet me on your private account. That works too. Still, we're going to be looking at the tournaments that happened from this past week, because there were a lot of notable tournaments that happened during Christmas week when I didn't think there would be any. So a lot of good stuff to look at the weekly recap. But first, what's a non-cheesy way to open up a segment where you talk about the year in review, right? You talked about everything that happened in competitive Splatoon back in 2021 of January. Well, I don't know. So let's just roll with it and see what happens. You guys are here anyways. But think back to where we were in January of this year, right? Like focus your brains back to January. We were just coming off of the Squid House situation, where we thought for sure we were severing ties with Nintendo forever. In-game TV was seen as the heroes of the scene. Somebody tweeted at Mr. Beast, begging him to make a Splatoon tournament, to which Mr. Beast responded with a tweet that said, "What's Splatoon?" And everybody in the competitive scenes freaked out. Oh my gosh, Mr. Beast is going to make a tournament. But no, it turns out he genuinely had no idea what we were talking about and didn't care. So I can't. That's where we were in January, okay? There was no Splatoon 3 announcement. There was nothing. We were just stuck with Splatoon 2. We had SAC going on, a season I would argue was defined by the rivalry of Destiny Troops and Xanadu. Xanadu came into that season as the little brother to us. We had dominated them in the past, and they flipped the script. I think we only beat them once all season long, and they ended up beating us in grand finals of the final tournament, taking first place overall. Salute to you, Xanadu. It sucks that you guys disbanded. Now the SAC is back. Come back and face us, cowards. We're not done with you. Think about the January low ink. No, the one Rising Matrix destroyed, utterly destroyed. And I will still argue the players at the time that played for Rising Matrix in January were still eligible by the letter of the rule for that tournament. If they had played in one tournament beforehand as a Rising Matrix and we saw how good they actually were, maybe not. But I would still argue they were totally fine to play in that lowing. But my goodness, 34-1, only one loss to the Sea Boys in dominating fashion. And think about that. That was a lowing that was so big that we had 4 Swiss groups. We had to do 4 Swiss groups for that lowing. Now we're back down to 1. But like, just think about how massive that January lowing was. Like, remember looking at that and being like, oh my gosh, we got 128 teams. If none of those teams had dropped, I think we should have done a Delta bracket. I don't know the math off the top of my head, but in theory, we wanted to have at least half the teams make a day 2 bracket. But we were so caught off guard by the number of teams that signed up in that low ink that we didn't even have like a Delta bracket in mind. Like, we didn't have a plan for that. So maybe if we get those numbers again, we might be more prepared for a possibility of a Delta bracket. But that low ink, yeah, that low ink set the tone for the year. So what happened after January? Well, something happened in February. Something that I am convinced none of you actually thought would legit happen. Splatoon 3 got announced in February. It didn't seem like it was that long ago, but it really, I thought it was more like a March or April. But no, when I look back to it, the trailer is set for February 17th or 18th or something like that. It seemingly came out of nowhere. I mean, it's when I first saw like the beginning of the trailer, I was thinking, oh, this is just the Splatoon spin-off game. This is like Inkling's crossbow training or something like that. It looks weird. But then it saw the Splatoon 3 logo and it's just like, wow, this changed everything for the rest of the year. Because then you got a lot of people that were like, oh, I'm hyped. I'm going to play Splatoon 2 up until this point. But it's always been that, it's always been this thing that's just been kind of dangled in front of us as like, well, you're going to keep playing Splatoon 2 knowing that Splatoon 3 is right around the corner. You know, why keep playing this game? There's something better right around the way. So I wonder, when we look back critically at 2021, will we say the announcement of Splatoon 3 jump-started the scene, or will we say it eventually killed off Splatoon 2? Competitively, that is. There's more to talk about with Splatoon 3 coming up when I talk about what's going to happen in the future of 2022. But there's no doubt that Splatoon 3's announcement definitely shaped a lot going forward to competitive Splatoon. A lot of people said they were coming back at the announcements, after the announcement, right? But who actually did come back? Nintendo, of all people. We just gave them a giant middle finger with the Squid House and thought, yeah, they're gone forever. Nope, they come back in the summer of 2021 with not 4, but 5 tournaments with some really jank rules and broken websites. And for the United States only. Sorry, Canada, Mexico, Europe, South America. Sorry, the United States only. And what a crap show all of those tournaments was. Literally all 5 tournaments. Except for the Splat Zone one. The Splat Zone was just more when people realized ladder was dumb. But all the other tournaments had some ridiculous situation happen that demanded our attention. The Splatfest tea heard round the world in the first tournament. Everyone realizing ladder was dumb in the second one. Battle 5 falling apart to becoming a best-of-1 tower control tournament. And Turf War with the worst attempt at cheating ever in competitive Splatoon. And then you got the 5th tournament, which actually I am going to mention the 5th tournament at some point during the award section. A little bit of a teaser there. But man, we did not see this coming. I'm surprised Nintendo came back with actual prices. The attempt that Nintendo came back with was better than what the attempt was in December. There's still a lot of things that need to work out. It's like they listen to some things and are totally deaf to others, deaf and blind to others. I still think if Nintendo hired some intern to just look at Twitter, just every other day. Just type in hashtag Splatoon 2 and see what people are talking about. Their tournament series would infinitely improve. I mean, how it took them, 3 months to get prizes out and to catch Elite Four when we caught them frame one is unacceptable and embarrassing. But I think we all appreciate the fact that A, Nintendo is still a thing in competitive Splatoon, and number two, that they somewhat care enough to try to get better. So who knows what's going to go forward with that. We didn't see the huge spike though. Well, last summer when we had Nintendo hosted their tournaments, we saw a huge spike in participation as far as like casuals coming into the scene and then trickling down into other tournaments. It's one of the major reasons why Low Inc became such the monster tournament that it is, that we hosted the 2-day system directly after that big Nintendo tournament in the June or July of 2020. But we didn't see that huge spike this time around, maybe because Splatoon 3 is a thing, maybe because tournament fatigue from 4 tournaments that Nintendo ran basically every single week for a month. Who knows? Riptide happened. That was a thing. Riptide takes the award for being both the best thing that happened in competitive Splatoon this year and also the absolute worst thing that happened in competitive Splatoon this year. Best because a LAN came back and it worked. And there were some people, I don't know the exact numbers, but there were some people, at least one I know of, that was hospitalized due to COVID. But no, everyone seems to be doing fine afterwards. The event happened. It was a success. And we escaped from it with our lives. I think that's fair to say with where the world is right now and where it seems the world is heading in the future, that we escaped Riptide unscathed there for the most part. But still, we were able to have a LAN in 2021. That is a success. In-game TV does deserve a thumbs up for that, because that is impressive. This was the worst thing that happened all year long because this was a total PR nightmare. And it's like there's somebody that worked for in-game TV that is currently taking a level 200 public relations class that was just like, let me handle all of this. Just let me handle all of this, guys. It's going to work out. And it absolutely didn't. We don't need to sit here and revisit all that crap. But more importantly, we don't need a repeat of all that crap. That's the lessons we learned from watching in-game TV completely fumble away this opportunity here is something all TOs need to pay attention to and learn from so that you don't make those same kind of mistakes. But still, Riptide, definitely a success. Super Jump, 2 Looty seasons, blah, 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 all that good stuff. It was a good year. It's been a very good year. What about next year? 3 things I want to point out about next year. 3 things you want to keep an eye on for next year. Obviously, the number one thing you want to keep an eye on is Splatoon 3, which we know is coming out at some point in 2022. Now, I saw some tweets circulating yesterday. Somebody was like, somebody who had a lot of Twitter followers released this thing that was like, on March 18th, it's going to be released, unless it's not, in which case it's going to be delayed. I don't buy that. Now, I don't know who this person is, and before any of you go and chat and tell me this is who that person is, use actual sources, because I think it's just rumors that create the legend of what this person is, this Nostradamus of Nintendo. Oh, they're a person who did this and that. Okay, cool. Is that what they really are? Is that what you heard a friend of a friend of a friend say that they were? It doesn't make any sense. I also don't like predictions that are just so open-ended that they can't be proven wrong. Like, it's like a built-in excuse. Oh, if it doesn't happen on March 18th, that means it got delayed. So I'm right either way. No, what? But my point is, I'm not convinced that it's going to be on March 18th until Nintendo comes out themselves and says something. I don't care what these rumors are, because they're just rumors that any yokel could just come up with. I'll say this, though. If it comes out in March 18th, that changes a lot of things. Dude, does that run during SAC? Like, is SAC's final tournament going to be during Splatoon 3 coming out? What's Low Ink going to look like? Like, if Low Ink is going to, if Splatoon 3 is going to come out in the summer, then yeah, we're still going to grind the snot every last drop out of this Low Ink in Splatoon 2 that we're going to get. But if it's coming out in 2 months, like, it's understandable that a lot of people are going to just be like, I'm just going to wait 2 months and play Splatoon 3. I'm not going to play in a Splatoon 2 tournament. So I don't know. If it really is coming out in March, that's interesting. If it comes out in June or July or later than that, I think it'd give us a little bit more time to prepare. We need to know. The bottom line is, we need to know. The competitive scene needs to know when the end game is. Like, what's the final date that we can do Splatoon 2? And we need more than just the 2 months heads up. It'd be really helpful, but we'll wait and see. I'm not convinced of any tournaments just yet, or any official announcement just yet, until Nintendo does it. It wouldn't surprise me, though. I mean, they announced Paper Mario and like, hey, we didn't even know that we were working on Paper Mario. We're not only working on it, we finished it, we already shipped it out. It's coming out. You can pick it up in stores a month from now. Like, what? So it wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo waited till February and be like, hey, the game's coming out tomorrow. Okay, thank you, Nintendo. There's also something else going on in the competitive scene, regardless of what happens with Splatoon 3. As mentioned a couple episodes ago, there is a war going on for mid-level, specifically in the draft servers. MIT, being the organization that spawned from Launchpoint, or launched from Launchpoint, created Ink Odyssey, which is going to launch in January, excuse me. A mid-level draft server aimed at the same target audience of people that are in Midpoint. Well, Midpoint isn't done just yet. They announced that on 9/1/2022, they are going to come out with an announcement. Now, for those of us that are not in Europe, that means January the 9th. That doesn't mean September the 1st. No, they're not. Ooh, pay attention. 10 months from now, we got a special announcement. You need 10 months preparation. No, it's going to be coming out, what, next week? No, the week after that. So it's a new announcement of something coming out from Midpoint, and a very ballsy date that they want to pick that for their announcement, because it's literally the same day that Ink Odyssey launches. Okay, very subtle there, Midpoint. I see you. Now, there's two things this could be. The only things it could be is something combining, like they're merging with Ink Odyssey. I don't think that's actually what this is, but that would make sense why it's the same date. Okay. But I don't think that it's that. And it could be a tournament. It could be that, hey, we recognize the voting system is stupid and gatekeeping the scene. We're going to change it. I don't know. All I'm going to say is Midpoint is at least coming forward and saying, no, Ink Odyssey, you can't have it. We are going to revitalize. We're going to actually do something, and we're going to stand up for ourselves. Hats off to Midpoint. So who wins in this situation? Because now we have a actual war going on here. It's not just one side taking over. The invasion is coming in, and Midpoint is going to build up their defenses and try to defend themselves. Who's going to win here? The answer is mid-level. This is capitalism at its finest, or worst, or whatever. But we have capitalism going on here. Two organizations trying to do the same thing and trying to knock each other out. Or unless the announcement is that they're joining forces, but I would be genuinely surprised if that was the case. Still, it is something we'll keep an eye on. And yes, I did say that Midpoint was going to die. Maybe that was a little premature. We'll see what the announcement is. But if both these organizations are still a thing by June, and like an actual legit thing, like not one of them is just like, oh, we got 3 people and we post silly things on our Twitter every now and then. If these 2 things are actual legit things going forward, okay, cool. I don't think that's the case, and I don't think we don't think we have enough room in mid-level for something like that. But we'll keep an eye on it. What lands are going on in 2022? Are we even going to get a land? I'll tell you this. I have rumors. I have things I can't tell you guys. But something we all got to keep in mind here is that even if we want to host a LAN, even if we get the venue for it, even if there's people who are willing to pay money and do whatever and all this to get it happening, it doesn't matter, because there's one thing we cannot control, and that is the pandemic that is still going on. Right now, we just got the Omicron virus. I mean, we're just going through the entire Greek alphabet at this point, and every new variant is worse than the last one, and it seems like we're just going to keep getting new variants. Who knows where we're going to be in the future? But I think right now is the worst the pandemic has ever been, which is concerning. Now, I'm not. Don't take medical advice from me, but everything I think I've heard is basically if you're vaccinated fully, including the booster, and you're with other people in that same situation, that you're probably going to be all right. But still, like, that doesn't mean that the next variant doesn't just override everything. So who knows? It's a question of that TOs need to come up with, not just do you want to run a LAN, it's should you run a LAN. And that was a big topic of conversation in 2021. We don't know what the future is going to be for us. My family got together for Christmas, but all of us wore like the thick, like, I don't know what the name of the masks are, like N95 or something like that. Well, like, we all had to wear that mask because my dad, even though everyone's fully vaccinated, my dad is immunocompromised. So it's, you know, like, even just getting together with my family for Christmas was kind of a nerve-wracking thing, much less all of you idiots all over the internet together. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get a LAN, but I will say this. I know there are conversations going on, not with IPL. IPL's been pretty open about, no, we don't want to run a LAN. We don't think it's a good idea, but I've heard from other situations. With that, hey, I'm excited. Competitive Splatoon's in a good spot. It's been a good year in general. There's a lot of things that we have to be excited about going forward in the next year. What are we going to be saying about 2023? I don't know. We're going to be, we need to, when Splatoon 3 comes out, we need to figure out what the maps are good, what maps are bad. We need to figure out the meta. And there's going to be so many patches. Man, when the game first comes out, you guys know it's going to be so broken. Like, you could use quad tri-slosher at the beginning of Splatoon 2 and win a tournament with that, So there's going to be a lot of patches that are going to fix a lot of things and make things more worse. I can tell you one thing, though. There is not going to be triggerfish zones in Splatoon 3 as far as low ink is concerned. We are never having triggerfish in low ink. Mark my words. Clip it. I don't care what version of Splatoon we're playing. Before we get to the awards, we talked about the past. We talked about the future. Let's talk about the present. Let's breeze through the weekly recap. It was Christmas week here for competitive Splatoon, which made me think, oh, well, we're just not going to do any tournaments. Wrong. We had 3 tournaments, and all of them were fat, bro. Started off with Paddling Pool 143, which saw I Don't Know, a team made up of Medi, Isabel, Storm Hero, Nepia, and Tenchi. Get a bracket reset win over Duncan, Zero, Sinnoh, Goss, Cephas, and Mist. ASC Tenchi taking 3rd place in this tournament. 32 teams played in this edition of Paddling Pool, which was like more than double what they typically get. So a very loaded, and I wonder if they capped at 32 just to keep things simple for their double elimination bracket. They don't have to add like another round or something on top of that, which I think you would have to do if you go past 32. The challenge was not working, so this was on tournament.com or something like that. I think it's a German website, because when I went to it, everything was spelled out to me in German. Which I cannot read, but I can at least see the fact. I can read that I don't know won this tournament. That much I can make out of that. Seemed to be the same thing as challenge, except light mode instead of dark mode. SOS number 53, won by Raccoon Soup, made up of Bandit Soup, Danish Nick, and Banner. Centerlink Esports finished in second place. GGG finished in third. GIJA. What in the world, guys? Basically another pickup team, and the team that finished in fourth place, a Garfield Christmas special. And hold on, stop the music. Stop. Let's talk about the Garfield Christmas special for a second, because I feel like I grew up watching the Garfield Christmas special, and there's something I just want to point out with these kinds of things. The plot of this is that Grandma, who is the badass character of Garfield, like she's doing sit-ups and she's like super tough and jokes around and acts half her age and drives a motorcycle and all this stuff. But in the Christmas special, she had, because every Christmas episode ever has to be emotional for some reason, because Christmas is this giant emotional love fest for some reason. She gets vulnerable and she's talking to Garfield about how her husband's dead and she misses her husband, and Garfield like finds some love letters for her or something like that. But why do all Christmas specials have to be overly emotional? Like that's not, I've never been to a Christmas where I've just been like, this is the time where I face my inner demons. Like, no, it's just, hey, I got a new video game. That's awesome. Why are Christmas specials always about taking, like, you could have done that episode of making Grandma have some character development in any other episode. Why it's got to be Christmas, I don't understand. But regardless, I can go on this forever. I hate Christmas cartoons, but shout outs to a Garfield Christmas special. It got fourth place. Bring it back. 33 teams registered for this tournament, which capped at 32. Because of the format for the tournament, you can't really do more than 32. It's, in theory, it's a school night, so you want to get it over with as quickly as possible, but groups into a single M bracket. It doesn't work out when one of those brackets has 9 teams in it. It adds an extra round, slows everything down. So it capped early on Wednesday, before registration could close, and a lot of people had to get onto a waiting list. Good to see SOS load up and get back to the waiting list system. Mystic and Will with WIL, was on Thursday, a tournament with a $40 prize pool, won by AAA, Isabel, Medi, Jade, Storm Hero. Second place was Buffalo. I'm sure no relation to the city Buffalo in New York, which is made up of Ice, Biscuit, Bagel, Shaq, and Keo. Third place going to Chewits Mafia. I only knew about this tournament because every time Buffalo lost, people were freaking out on Twitter, and rightfully so. If you beat a team of that caliber, you deserve to brag about it. But if people weren't bragging about it, I would have no idea that it was an actual tournament. So there you go. I believe this is the first time Mystic and Will ran. And is it a weekly? Is it a monthly? Who knows? We'll keep an eye on it. Do we need a tournament every single day of the week? We do not. That's not good, but we've seen several tournaments come up, run a few times, and then disappear into the night. We'll keep an eye on Mystic and Will. At least some big name teams are playing in it. Ben Roethlisberger had a quarterback rating of 15.4% in a 36-10 loss to the Chiefs. Rams survive against the Vikings 30-23, clinching a playoff spot. And that was your weekly recap, sponsored by you, the viewers. Thank you for watching all throughout the year of 2021. I'm excited to do episode 100 in the probably in February of next year, and it's really good that all of you are here. So thank you for sponsoring this episode of the weekly recap. I think. If somebody with actual money wants to sponsor the weekly recap, feel free to DM me. I'd be more interested in you. All right. The reason you're all here. Unless you're not. The awards. Now, keep in mind a couple of things. First off, yes, you guys nominated all of these things. In some of these instances, I went with the person or team or who got nominated the most. In other instances, I went with the actual correct answer that you guys forgot to mention. So it's a little bit of a mix of your opinion and my opinion. And is my opinion better than you guys' opinion? Yes, that has been proven time and time again. However, if you disagree with anything I say today in this award thing, don't worry. It's all just opinion. So don't get too upset about it. We're just trying to have fun here, guys. Else we're not. Starting off with the worst pickup team names of the year. With every category, we have your honorable mentions, number 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go in that order. Starting with number 3. This one is a tie between Popgun's hairline and Popgun's Twitch passcode. Fine. I mean, yes. It's frustrating because neither one of these teams did particularly good at all, which means my hairline isn't particularly strong. And I know for a fact my Twitch passcode at the time wasn't strong either. So an accurate reflection of how those teams did. That was before the Twitch breach, and I had to change my Twitch passcode. And it's literally something that I don't even remember. I have it written down somewhere secret. But it was something that I just went with some crazy thing. I shouldn't be describing what my Twitch passcode is here, but regardless, it's a bad pickup team name. Number 2, and I'm about to call out like half of the competitive scene right now. The second worst pickup team name this year is Pickup. Just Pickup. Guys, there at one point we had an SOS tournament where a team called Pickup was playing against a team called Pickup in the Great White bracket. One team had a capital P, the other one had a lowercase p, both 2 words. Guys, you can't, come on. This can't be acceptable. I mean, what if that was on stream? How do you commentate that? Capital P gets a nice play over lowercase p. How do you do this? You got to at least try. And if you want an example of how you can try and fail even worse, the number 1 worst pickup team name of the year does not go out to GooTuber because GooTuber is not a pickup team, as they pointed out several times on that tweet. The worst pickup team name goes to, and this was a unanimous decision by both me and you guys, Children undermining stupid tournament organizers, moderating everyone loves inexplainable trash, extreme random for cool spelled with a K there. Stupid, completely unnecessary, optimally pointless, extravagant names. Custom e-leader, is what they were going with, but I don't think that actually spells custom e-leader. So I don't, there you go. It's bad. What makes that one so bad? Because if you put that team on screen, it destroys everything. The format of it just doesn't fit. Shoutouts to Ink Fair, who, when we had GooTuber on with their full name, again, they're not a pickup, just basically was able to scrunch all of their names, their entire team name together and fit it in there. It looked like a doggone barcode that you could scan on your phone. But there you go. If you want to make a team name even more ridiculous than just pickup, make it so insanely large that it literally breaks Battlefly trying to put it in there. Battlefly needs a character limit for your team names. I'll blame them over than you. You guys are just taking advantage of the system. Honorable mentions go to Perito. And I forgot about this one. I'm glad someone suggested it. Barbie's Dream House. That one definitely gets honorable mention, I'd say. let's shift gears. Let's stop being mean to people. Let's talk about the most wholesome team of the year. Starting at number 3, give me Kingmaker, a team suggested by a lot of people from you guys and myself included. Kingmaker was at Riptide, and we got to meet them in person. Obviously, really cool people, and great stream. A lot of them are streamers. They're awesome people. They're nice. They fit the definition of wholesome. You agree, and I do as well. I don't think Kingmaker, I don't think we're going to see them much more in Low Ink. I think they tweeted out that their work schedule is not going to allow them to be off every single weekend that they want to play. Understandably so. But they're a team you root for, unless you're a team you play against them. I pointed this out several times. If you lose to a team like that, you're probably furious, but then you get over it real quick because you're like, they're just going to spam you with like, oh, GG's, it was so fun to play you. It was just a good time. It's like, oh, that's... wow, this makes you feel good that you lost the triple brush. Kingmaker, good to see you guys come into the scene this year. Number 3, most wholesome. Number 2, this was a team I had most wholesome last year and got a lot of suggestions again this year. Give me the Pirates. Shiver me, Inklings, one of the more older teams that we have in this scene that's been playing for a long time. Back to back, I believe. Spots here on the most wholesome team of the year award. Hats off to the Pirates. We'll be talking more about the Pirates in the future. Most wholesome team. Say it with me at the same time. We'll everyone say it out loud, and we'll all do it. All right, on 3. 3 Wiggly Phantoms. Is there anybody else you could put here? There's a lot of other wholesome teams. Honorable mentions goes out to whatever my wife's team is currently named. Thembo, IHOP. Polar Knight got some suggestions. Obviously, Blue Moon as well. But it doesn't... you can't beat the Wiggly Phantoms. I mean, you just can't as far as wholesomeness. They are the... you know, like the Tournament of Power, Universe 2, that was all about love or whatever. That was literally Wiggly Phantoms incarnate. Sorry, you can't out wholesome them. Best team Twitter. Man, we're getting the obvious ones out of the way right away, aren't we here? Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at my top 3. Let's take a look. Screen. First off, number 3. Give me BLT. Bad luck. Trout. I think they would have a heart attack if they didn't finish in the top 3 here somewhere. They did this nice commission of me with a glowy top here. Aren't all the characters in I don't play Minecraft. Aren't they all bald, or is there supposed to be like hair texture here? Also, is that that's the Hydra from the Splatoon 3 trailer, isn't it? That it looks more. I'm concerned about Hydra in Splatoon 3 because it looks smaller than what it is in Splatoon 2. But I think that is the Splatoon 3 model they got there. But BLT, now it's kind of a cheat because some of these players come from the Wiggly Phantoms. But there you go. They're off in that section right there. Number 2. We already showed you this team, but of course this has to be the number 2 team. There's no one else that can put in here. Blue Moon making a second attempt. I'm just going to keep showing their Twitter over and over again just to fill up segment. They did come out with a new episode, a 13-long video posted on their YouTube for of their Low Ink recap. I wonder now if there's because now we pointed them out and they're getting more and more followers, and make sure you follow them if you're not already. But I wonder if now there's expectation, if there's pressure to fill the void that the Wiggly Phantoms left. Who knows? But the number 1, and this is going to start to get kind of boring for some of you. The number 1 best Twitter. Well, how about we go with, let's see if we can find their best, let's see if we can find the best example here off the top of my head. Oh yeah, maybe it's the team that came up with this nonsense. Wiggly Phantoms wins best Twitter of the year, I believe, for the second year in a row. I don't even know if I had this category last year, but dang. I mean, the problem is, that most of my head is uninkable surface because it's too slick. Best match of the year. Also, Thimble IHOP got honorable mention for best Twitter. Let's start looking at some fun stuff here. Actually, before we get into best match, look at the best plays of the year. And we'll explain all of them. Number 3.
Ooh, I'm getting pushed out.
Don't worry, we can pop it once it comes back in mid.
I can take it, but I'm not very confident.
I got 3 of a hot smash. Run. I've got they're completely wiped. Run.
Good stuff.
Let's talk about context here. Because it's a great play, right? But it's not always the best play that makes the best play, if that makes sense. But it's got to have some context behind it. What's the context there? That is Thimble IHOP, the team that was the number 1 team, in my opinion, going into that April low ink. Going up against 60% fish puns that at that time had never even sniffed a gamma bracket. Well, that was game 2, and that play right there got a win for 60% fish puns, which set up the best upset we have ever seen in low ink history. Sorry, Thimble IHOP, but I got to point that out. That's a heck of a play that literally changed the course of that set and changed the course of the tournament for that set right there. Number 2.
That Hydra standing on that tower, shoving 3 members of Dragon's Wave into the same area and not letting them go.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Wait.
What? I'm so confused right now. What in the world, dude?
Can I just point a few things out about this? First off, what makes this the number 2 play of the year? Obviously, it's the context. But I want to point out, look how quickly they all 4 disconnect. It's so perfectly coordinated. Like, how they pulled this off right here is really astonishing that they were able to do it at the same time. There's no other team that on command, without any preparation in the middle of a tournament, could all 4 DC at the exact same time. Hats off, Sanctum. That was a really good coordination. Also, I really love Eevee's just desperate attempt to splat somebody here in utter. You could see the utter confusion going on there with Eevee slapping him.
I'm so confused right now. What in the world?
Number 2, the incident. Well, what could beat the incident? I mean, that was the best thing. This is the most talked about thing, right? How about the number 1, the shark?
Opsidus to bring this back. Can you imagine losing with just 1 point remaining?
No. This right
This is
here.
actually
You're
happening.
not painting this little speck of ink. Come on, just put something down. Look at your map. Look at your map.
right there.
The beacon
Oh
is
my
yellow.
god! They all jumped in!
Man, what's great about this play? What makes it number 1? Yeah, the play itself would be number 1 regardless of the context. But when you add in the context, it makes it even more unbelievable. Look at this. This is winners semifinals. And this knocked ITAP out of the tournament. This was ITAP's best chance ever to win low ink. And because of that play, not only does Myopsidus eliminate ITAP, but they prevented a game 5 with ITAP having a lot of momentum going into that game 5. And it's so unbelievable that it worked. But the context behind it just takes it to a whole nother level. This is not something that just happened for fun in a Swiss match between 2 teams. This was 2 teams battling to win the tournament at a high stakes match with that happening. Top play of the year. Might be the best play ever in Splatoon 2 history when this game ends. Incredible. I don't have any honorable mentions for this one. Best match of the year. And this is, a lot of people were suggesting things. I didn't want to make this just low-level exclusives, even though the vast majority of these things are going to be low-level. But a lot of people were suggesting things from high-level as well, and I took that into consideration. So, the match of the year, starting with number 3 on down. Number 3, the October Low Inc. Grand Finals, Unlimited Woomy United beating Rising Stars. Of course, the context between this one is amazing. Rising Stars was supposed to be in beta bracket. Drops bumped them up to that. Unlimited Woomy United coming out with some really bizarre comps, switching the blob late into that set. But it's what makes it so great. It's the only set in Low Inc. history to go the full set that it can possibly go in Grand Finals. First set was best of 5, went to game 5. Bracket reset went to game 5 as well. You had great back and forth momentum being stolen by both teams. You couldn't truly separate one team from the other. Rising Stars eventually just ran out of gas and got steamrolled those last 2 games. But still, that was an instant classic when we saw it, and got more attention for the comps that teams were using than it got a lot of attention because of the comps both teams were using. But when you go back and look at the actual set, you realize this is a classic. Just an instant classic that was going on there. Number 2. Do you guys realize how good that Starburst versus not FT Win match was in the Nintendo tournament? It's weird to put that one in there, right? Because it's not FT Win. They don't have Shaq. It's weird because they had to counterpick Turf War at some point, and Starburst was clearly better at Turf War, even though not FT1 had to pick it for them. But what makes that set so stand out is the bracket reset, right? Or not the bracket reset, the reverse sweep. Not FT1 was just going to dominate that one. Starburst came all the way back. And what happened? The final game, Rainmaker, and this honestly should have been an honorable mention for Play of the Year. Ant, whatever name they go by now, 4v1 with a 96 gal. The RNG to hit the shot to kill the Rainmaker to end the game, knowing if the RNG doesn't work out in their favor and doesn't kill the Rainmaker, Starburst loses that one. The most dramatic finish between the 2 Titan teams that you have wanted to see. Starburst versus not FT Win deserved a slot here in the match of the year. Another no-brainer. Number 1, best match of the year. Let's if you don't care what December Pop Gun has to say about this, as Leah pointed out, let's take a look at what I said back in March. When I do my Popcast episodes at the end of the year, and I do my year in review, and I give out my awards. That's now. Is there any doubt what the match of the year is going to be? No. Is there any doubt? Is there anything that can top this? Do we need to wait till the end of the year? Do you guys just want me to do right here, right now, the annual Popcast Awards? Yes. Number 1, match of the year goes to Red Sun versus Twisted Time, Low Inc. March 2021. Congratulations. What a performance you guys put on. Can I just point something out? I think I look way better with a beard than when it's just bald face and bald head. I think having some hair visible somewhere is a nice feature there. But I was right then and I'm right now. That's the best match of competitive Splatoon we've ever seen. It's got everything. It has context, it has action, it has heroic plays, it has comebacks, it has clutch holding on to leads. It had momentum shifts. It had it all. The first bracket went to 6 games. The last bracket went to a game 7. And I remember commentating it live with Magic 8 Ball, and we were just like, these teams are dead. Like during the bracket reset, you could tell they were just gone. Like there was just solo queue at that point because your brain just became so mush that everything was just instinct. And think about all the DCs that happened. No team lost the game because of a DC, but every team, I think both teams went had to use the replay in both resets, and that intensified the drama even more. You had players, it went on so late. You had players that had to leave to go to work. In the entire roster of both teams were used. It got down to the point to where I think each team had like 5 or 6 players, but they only had 4 remaining, and they couldn't DC anymore. Like, the drama was off the charts, and it's something you'll never see again because JPEG has been on record saying we are never having another incident. That's why a lot of things have changed with the low ink rules. They literally changed the rules. It eventually led to a format change to get the day done quicker. I mean, there's so much going on there in that one match. That Red Sun won, by the way. And we still don't have a true champion there because who actually won? Is it fair to say Red Sun won when they lost twice in a double elimination tournament, and Twisted Time lost twice in a double elimination tournament? Everyone lost twice. Literally everyone lost twice on Sunday. How could you determine who a team is better than the other? Unbelievable. Unbelievable scenario. You will never see something like that again. I promise you. On that stage, with that context, with everything that's going on there, you will never see a better match in Splatoon 2 than Red Sun versus Twisted Time. That was amazing. Honorable mentions goes to Wipeout Punks versus Insurance Agency, a Ludi match. Where the VOD of that is on the Little Squid League page. That is from last season, not the most current season. Launch Point Draft Cup number 5 grand finals. That one was fantastic. A game 7 where a tower control where all the checkpoints were gone in the first minute. It's hard to put a draft cup in the top 3 though. Vaporwave versus Mahi Mahi Monsoon, a Little Squid League grand finals. That one was a solid in the top 3 for a while. Uwu knocked him out. Starburst Not FT Win knocked him out. If you wanted to be number 4, that definitely deserves a spot. Honorable mention, yeah, ITAP versus A2P. Yeah, that definitely deserves an honorable mention as well. But that's more of a, I think that A2P isn't particularly happy that one was as close as what it was. I know I wouldn't be. That one's, if ITAP got the win there, that would have been a match of the year. But it deserves honorable mentions for sure. Tournament organizers of the year. This is where I need to add a little disclaimer. If I was being honest, JPEG wins this one, and it's not even freaking close. JPEG is the best tournament organizer, and I know I'm biased because he's my better half in low ink, but you include everything he's done in high ink, volunteering for Riptide, all the other organizations, or all the other tournaments he has a hand in, his own tournaments that he runs, his own gimmick tournaments that he runs, the fastest tournament in the West. JPEG's the best TO we got. I can't sit here and give the award to JPEG every single year. In fact, I'm not even giving the award to a single person for IPL. All the people in IPL got nominated. That's great. They deserve that kind of praise. But I can't just sit here being an IPL person and just hand out awards to my coworkers every single year, even though I genuinely believe they are the best. Let's spend some time. So let's adapt the name of this award. Best TO that doesn't work at IPL. How about that? And we'll make the IPL people the honorable mentions, to be fair. So number 3. Give a shout out to Parias for running Little Squid League, attempting to run a very big Little Squid League 17, even though it didn't work out, but also for playing a part in not just the Ludi Seeding Council, but creating the low-level rankings, something you guys all love. And if you don't, then you DM him and be like, hey, don't put me on the list. And Price is like, all right, cool, that's fine. So, but the addition of the low-level rankings, I enjoy it. It's something I like seeing. It's something I talk about a lot on the podcast. Parias definitely deserves a spot here. Number 2, served with a can of whoop ass. Give me Havoc for creating Squid Junction. You know, we see a lot of tournaments get created, and they'll run a couple of times, and then they get run out of the community because they're bad. or just don't or just fit a oversaturated market already. Havoc created something that is still in existence, that is good enough to where Dapple Productions said, yeah, we want to bring that in. So the best new tournament of the year probably goes out to Squid Junction, and that credit goes to Havoc for creating it. Also being a member, maybe captain, I don't know who's the actual captain of Summit, but Summit's a pretty good team as well. So you like to see your TOs being actually active as part of the player base as well, because they're actually connected to the players, because they are one of them. So Havoc gets the number 2 spot right there. Number 1, an overwhelming majority of both you and me goes to a tie, a joint co-champion TOs of the year, the Moo and Wug, for their performance in the Launch Point Draft Cups in MIT. Congratulations, Wug and Moo, your official Popcast TOs of the year. Mug is, I guess, what they're going together with it. We're excited to see what the future holds for MIT and all the other things that you guys have a hand in. All right, the big 3 stuff here, the nitty gritty. Move Improved Team of the Year. With this one, we'll start with the honorable mentions and get those out of the way first, then go 3-1. Honorable mention goes to Sanctum, who I think a lot of people said should be the number 1 most improved team of the year. Are they? The reason I have them honorable mention is because I think it's just our perception of Sanctum that has changed. They were really good, and it just took us a long time to figure it out. They were always just as good as what they were. And I think if they don't drop from that low ink and they actually play it out in March and they win it, I think then, yeah, we can kind of look at that. But what we didn't realize back then is that they were just always good to begin with. So it's more of our perception of them that improved. Not saying they didn't improve as a team, but when you talk about most improved team, I think there's some other teams more deserving. Up the ante for sure. My goodness, they I mean, they hats off to all the players on Up the Ante. Talk about where they were and where they are now, being the alpha bracket contender, making alpha brackets. Something you'd like to see. Aquatic Vanguard got voted a lot. I can't put them in there because I feel like they started off being good. Are they improving? Everybody's improving, but we're looking for the move improved team here. Legato, most of their roster changed over, but that really helped improve them a lot from being the LSL champ to the low ink contender that they are. Kappa, Illumini, I've been talking about them all year long as being some of the most improved teams. Shiver Me Inklings, a team a lot of people voted for, but that's not the top 3. Number 3. How about the team that just won low ink? The Sweeping Shields. I talked about how astonishing it was that they won low ink, right? The fact that they went from being 3 low inks this year where they didn't even sniff gamma bracket to making beta 2 times, and then going from losers round 3 of beta bracket to winning the whole doggone tournament. If that's not improvement, I don't know what the definition of improvement is. But the Sleeping Seals, easily top 3 most improved team. Number 2. It feels like a cop-out to put this team back here because I'm pretty sure I either had them as most improved or one of the team of the years, but ITAP, you talk about a team that has improved dramatically over the course of the year. Now, it sucks because they had that bit of a hiatus because of school, real life. So it's like if ITAP had stayed where they were up to the point to where they were at the beginning of January up to where they were now, how good would they actually be? But with the limited sample size that we did get of ITAP, you looked at how good they almost were, how they almost knocked out ATP, how they almost beat Luau, how they almost beat Destiny Troops. And now they win Flutie Div C. That's improvement. And they become that team that you kind of look at and you're like, oh, that's a cute little college team. That's awesome to see. to a team where you're genuinely like, I do not want to play them. I do not want to play them. And I'll be on the record saying right now, I do not want to play ITAP. They have improved dramatically. Now, how much more time do they got? I think they only get like one more semester before they graduate. And when you graduate, you can't represent your university unless they go to grad school or something like that. So they can't really, they could play together. They just can't play together under the name ITAP. Because there are some rules with that. But ITAP's number 2 move improved team. Number 1. It's not even close, guys. It has to be serious. It has to be. I mean, you look at where they were. Yeah, they lost. Yeah, the DCs against the Deep Fried Octolings sucked. The failure against Heroes Fan Club in July, that sucked. But you look at where they've gone since then. It's like they've ascended to a whole nother level since they were playing in low ink. And people have pointed out, are they a Div 3 team? On November the 13th, they were. They're not today. I don't know how good they actually are today. And you look at what their players are doing. Soup and Danish were on that Raccoon Soup team that won SOS 53. I believe Soup was on that team that beat Jackpot, the pickup that beat Jackpot. Sirius is a team where it's like, like every now and then, like a team will just kind of come from low level and just ascend far beyond all your expectations. That's Sirius. Sirius is going to be a serious team in 2022. And we're going to joke about how they couldn't win low ink, but now it's like, are they going to win SAC? Are they even going to be eligible for SAC? Honestly, this upcoming season, I don't know. Sirius, your most improved team of 2021. Captain of the year, and then team of the year. We'll call it a day. Honorable mentions for captain of the year. Give me Funky Eevee. Voted on a couple of times, and as I looked at that, I was like, I agree. Captain of 2 teams, Twisted Time and Paradise. Offset. It's Paradise there. Not good enough to be a legit number 3 team, but Eevee definitely deserves some credit there. Also, Delta of Red Sun, who I didn't even know was the captain of Red Sun. They had like 4 people in their roster that I felt like all 4 of them were captains. But no, Delta took credit for being the captain of Red Sun, and that deserves a little bit of a shout out right there. The fact that team actually existed. Hats off to Red Sun for being a legit team from January to December. That's hard to do. Leadership has a lot to do with that. Radishes from Illumini, a honorable mention as well. Got nominated a couple of times. You see what Illumini has done this year, the growth they've had back when they were Ink Eye to where they are now. Deserve some credit. Number 3. You guys know Access Denied only came back 2 Ludi seasons ago? Like they were disbanded. They just came back just for Ludi. So hats off to Saucy Boy, the stick charger player who has led Access Denied from being a team that just came back. Oh, cool. They're back for Ludi. No, now they're consistently making alpha brackets. And yes, they're the team. They're the team you might want to see. At this point, they might be the team you want to see win low ink the most, just because they've come so close so many times. It's like they're like the Buffalo Bills of low ink. But you love the Buffalo Bills, for those of you who were alive during the 90s that even know what the reference I'm talking about there. But Saucy Boy from Access Denied got a lot of nominations, and the more I thought about it, I felt like that was the legit. That's a fair nomination. So number 3 there. Number 2. I don't know if I've talked enough about the Deep Fried Octolings up to this point here at the awards section here, but Bolt definitely deserves some recognition here. You could have included the Deep Fried Octolings as most improved team. You could have included them as maybe most wholesome to some extent. I don't know. Maybe they're jerks. I don't know them personally. I did have them on the Popcast, but I remember you think about a team that you would want to be, right? Like you would want to be a team that starts off in low ink, takes your lumps, and grows slowly over the course of time. That is the deep fried octolings. Bolt deserves some credit for that. It all starts with leadership. Nice work, Bolt. We love some deep fried octolings here on the podcast. Number 1, the overwhelming support that this person has gotten on Twitter for this award cannot go unnoticed. Black Wolf, the captain of the Pirates herself, winning the official Popcast Captain of the Year award. Just so many votes, so many people came out and was like, Black Wolf, Black Wolf. And it's fair. Look at what the Shiver Me Inklings have done at the beginning of the year to where they are right now. That one tournament in Low Ink that we keep referencing over and over again where they went 6-0 in Swiss. We reference that because we weren't expecting the Pirates to be that good. That put the Pirates on the map. And that goes credit to one of the most wholesome teams, my number 2 wholesome team, Shiver Me Inklings, a very strong team in their own right. You have to give credit to the captain there, Black Wolf. Of the Swashbucklers. Nice work, Black Wolf, the official Popcast Captain of the Year. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The Team of the Year. Honorable mentions. Myopsidus. Got suggested a lot. A lot of people suggested Myopsidus. I feel like can deserve a spot. If there was like a top 5, I would give it to Myopsidus for sure. If they'd won a tournament, I feel like it'd be a little bit more justifiable. But it's really hard to crack this one here. But Myopsidus deserves an honorable mention because a lot of you voted for them, and I think it's fair. Sirius is team in the honorable mention here. Again, it kind of comes down to what have you won. Now they're going to win Div 3 next year. When the season ends. But if they had won a Low Ink, if they had won High Ink, they won an SOS. But if they had won one of those other tournaments, I feel like they cracked the top 3 here. But it's hard to put them over the guys that we have at the top. Number 3. Starburst. Now, let's keep in mind, this is not the top 3 best teams of the year. There's a lot of criteria that goes into it. But Starburst needs to be on everyone's top team list somewhere. Not just for the skill level, but because they changed the game of Splatoon. For so long, for like 2 years, FT Win was untouchable. They were immortals. You couldn't beat them. Nobody could beat them. They set atop a mountain with the crowns of dead kings laying at their feet. So many teams had formed together, tried to beat FT Win, got dismissed by them, and they disbanded. Time and time and time again. Starburst is the first team to do it. They're the first ones to show us that FT Win bleeds just like the rest of us. And that set up the door. When everybody comes out and says, we beat this FT Win pickup in this tournament, and they're excited about it on Twitter, the only reason that is possible is because Starburst took their immortality away. That changed everything. And yes, have they actually beaten the actual FT Win team? No, it was not FT Win at Riptide. It was not FT Win in the Nintendo tournament. They didn't play in Super Jump because the Kings stole the show. Starburst did beat Kings in a best of 5 set in Super Jump, by the way. It's just Kings are too good at adapting and too good at making adjustments to make them untouchable. But Starburst technically the only team to actually beat Kings all year long as well. But Starburst changed the game. They changed the game for everybody by what they've accomplished so far. And we're excited to see them going forward. Definitely the number 3 team as far as the Popcast is concerned. However, much like their Twitter followers, it is dwarfed by a team that is finishing in second place here. A team that, if they were to actually play, would not even hold a candle to each other. But that doesn't matter. There's a lot of criteria that go into this one. Is it fair to even put the Wiggly Phantoms at number 2. Like, should they be the number 1 team? I mean, you talk about game changing. The Wiggly Phantoms showed us that we can have fun, which is a weird concept here. But the Wiggly Phantoms, and it's not just the fact that they have a great Twitter. It's not the fact that they're wholesome and all that stuff. They were actually good too, and they were improving. They won a little Squid League this year. They won a beta bracket this year. And yeah, are there better teams than them? Of course. But when you talk about all the things that encompass what you love about competitive Splatoon, it is the Wiggly Phantoms. So they deserve the number 2 spot here. Sucks that they disband, but they pave the way for a lot of teams in ways I think we're not going to realize until all these new teams pop up in Splatoon 3 and they see like, wow, why are all these teams making funny Twitter posts? Why is everyone here just like making fun of this bald guy? The Phantoms set the pace. They did it first. The official Popcast Team of the Year. A lot of people have nominated this team, and I feel like it is fair to give it to them as well. Give me deep fried. Excuse me. The deep fried octolings. Again, this is what you want. If you are getting into competitive Splatoon with your friends to make a team, this is what you want to be. You want to be the deep fried octolings. You want to struggle. You want to grow. You want to climb your way up. You want to finish in 3rd place in a Minnow Cup. You want to eventually make alpha brackets. You want to win a low ink against Sirius with the help of DCs, but that's regardless of the point. Making playoffs in Div 3 as well to finish off the year. The deep fried octolings are all of us. You would desperately wish that your team was the deep fried octolings. And a team that won low ink in an era without a mid-level. In 6 months. They won it in June, went through mid-level hell for 6 months, and are now standing not at the very top of Div 3, but are now in the playoffs of Div 3. That deserves something. That deserves some recognition. With so many people that have set forth on the path the deep fried octolings have and have failed and fallen behind, they're still going. The official team of the year. Don't call them deep fried. There's a "the" in there for the reason. The deep fried octolings. Welcome to the end of Popcast episode number 92, the final episode of the year. We're going to start off 2022 with something crazy. I don't know what. Hopefully Shaq, because I know you want to be on the show so bad. But if you would like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out. My socials below. Discord at popgun #5882. Twitch at Mr_Popgun. TikTok at Mr_Popgun. YouTube at 25popgun. Twitch at popgun25. Anchor.fm/popgun. Thank you for being a part of this. In all seriousness, I joke about you guys being idiots in chat, mostly because you are, but I do appreciate you guys being here for the first 92 episodes, and hopefully we can keep this thing going up to episode 100 and the future beyond that. I appreciate you. And unless I do. Maybe I do. Who knows? Who are we going to raid today? Let's raid Brian. I don't know who that person is, but they need some love. Hey, more importantly than all of this, get vaccinated, you idiots. Get vaccinated. Get your booster shots. Stay safe. Wear a mask when applicable. Things are not looking good. So try to do your best to make sure things get better. If you want lands, do your part. Make everything better. And don't die between now and then. Between now and the episode. I'm hungry.